Welcome to the Club Portal of the whole game system. So, what is Club Portal? Portal is a gateway for you to your club data that's held by the County Football Association. It will enable you to administer your club effectively and efficiently, and to deal with many of your businesses that you as secretaries deal with. For example, club affiliation, payment of invoices, and as we'll see today, dealing with the disciplinary function of the club. I hope you find the system user-friendly, but more importantly, I hope you find it of use for your business as a club secretary in dealing with your administration. So how do you get access to the system? Providing you've got access to the internet, you have access. You will need your FAN or email address, and of course your password. If you've forgotten your password through the FA system, you can get assistance in retrieving it. Once you've entered the whole game URL into your web browser, you will be presented with this login screen. And to log into the system, all you need is your unique FAN ID or registered email address, and of course your password. If you've forgotten your password, never mind, because you can get assistance in retaining it by clicking on Have you forgotten your password here. As time moves forward and we have access to full time, you will also have access to all of the player registration data or the club's fixtures. Let's have a look. When you first enter into the system, you will be presented with notifications. This is the system notifying you that you have some activity that you need to respond to. We have separated the discipline activity from its financial activity. That is to say, instead of having to pay each case on a case-by-case basis, you will receive an invoice of all of the activity and will be able to pay all of the activity by one payment. You will be able to maintain your player records. So, as players leave the club, you will be able to remove them from your club records. And as you take on new players, you will be able to add them into the player records. Why is that important? Well, it's important so that you will know any activity of those players whilst playing for other teams. So it is really important that you maintain your player maintenance. The system will be able to give you notifications, things that you need to address before problems occur. For example, if you were due to receive a late fine, you will receive a notification a couple of days before the payment is due in order to try and prevent you from receiving any further financial penalties. The system is trying to be proactive to assist you in your role as club secretary. As club secretary, you will have access to the club history over the previous 5 years. You will be able to download individual records or the club history and be able to export it for use in other systems like Microsoft Excel for you to be able to produce other reports. As you enter the discipline section of the system, you'll be presented with the club's discipline summary. Here, you will be able to see the club's activity for the current season, whether or not you wish to look at first team's records or any of the non-first team records. You can download records simply by selecting this icon here. This will enable you to download the data that could be used in systems such as Microsoft Excel. Looking how the system deals with cautions. You will be able to acknowledge cautions as soon as they are activated by the County Football Association. In addition to that, you will be able to see the player records and their caution counts continually, and will be able to check and verify those. So you will be aware when a player is nearing 5 cautions and may be subject to a suspension. Very rarely, you may wish to lodge a claim for mistaken identity with cautions. And again, you can do that within the timelines directly on the system. Here, we're going to acknowledge a caution. To select a caution, simply select the record that you wish to acknowledge. This will take you into that particular caution record. Here you can see the details of the player and indeed how many cautions he or she has had for the current season. In an exceptional circumstances, you may wish to lodge a claim for mistaken identity, and providing you are within the regulation time frame, you can do this by selecting Lodge Claim. You will also be able to upload any information that you wish to be used at the Commission. In this particular instance, however, all I wish to do is to acknowledge the caution. This can be achieved by selecting Acknowledge and you will then be asked to confirm the fact that the discipline admin fee will be set against your next invoice. Moving on to the more serious offences of dismissals and misconduct charges. Dismissals first. As they arise, you will be given the opportunity to be able to acknowledge the dismissals. The vast majority of cases you will acknowledge, not want to submit a claim, and you will be able to manage the fixtures for which the player will use to serve those suspensions. As time moves forward and we link to full time, the system will assist you and update those suspensions automatically as fixtures change. So occasionally you will want to lodge a claim either for mistaken identity or a wrongful dismissal where you believe that the referee has made an obvious error. You can do that online. And in addition, you can upload any evidence that you wish to be used in your claim for a wrongful dismissal. Here we're going to acknowledge a dismissal. The record can be accepted in the same way as the caution records. And once into that particular case, you'll be able to see details of the player and indeed the sending off. I can, at this stage, add any matches that the player will use to serve the suspension. In addition, if I wish and I am in time within the regulations, I can lodge a claim either for mistaken identity or a wrongful dismissal claim. In this particular instance, I simply want to acknowledge the dismissal. In the same way as cautions, I have to accept that the fine and admin fee will be charged against our next invoice simply by selecting OK. Throughout the system, whether it's for cautions, sendings off or misconduct, I can access the letters that you would have received in the past in the post by selecting the View Print Letter icon. Here you'll be able to get a copy of the relevant letter that you previously received in the post. Turning to the more serious matter of misconduct charges, when they arise, as with the dismissals, you will have the ability to deal with all of the administration online. You can submit your response to the charges, whether you accept or deny the charge, whether you wish to be dealt with by correspondence only or by the attendance of a personal hearing. All of that can be submitted online. You will also be able to upload any evidence that you wish to be submitted to the panel when considering the misconduct charges. Again, all of this saves time, effort and money. You will be notified of the details of the hearing, the venue, and you will be able to confirm your attendance at those hearings, and at the end of it, the result, you will receive that online. Very occasionally, you will wish to exercise your right to appeal the decision of the County Football Association directly to the Football Association. Again, that will be able to be completed online. In this particular session, I want to look at acknowledging a misconduct charge. In the same way as cautions and sendings off, I can select a record by choosing one of the items from the outstanding cases. This will take me into that particular charge. Here, I need to select whether or not the player is pleading guilty or not guilty to the charge. In this particular instance, I'm going to select not guilty, and I then need to confirm whether or not the player requests a personal hearing or a non-personal hearing. In this particular instance, he is selecting a personal hearing. As we have said, we have separated the financial activity from the discipline activity. So let's spend a moment and look at the financial activity and what you can do online. You would want to pay any of the invoices that you may have online. You will receive them online, and you can pay them in all or part online. How often do you get the invoices? There is a default that clubs will receive invoices on a weekly basis. Like any business, sometimes businesses will offer their customers the opportunity to have longer terms. So it may be that the way your club is run, that you may wish to negotiate with the County FA the possibility of receiving invoices over a longer period, maybe monthly, maybe 3 monthly. That is a matter for the County FA to determine with their customers, you, the clubs. You will receive receipts once you have made payment, again, automatically. Let's have a look at the basic financial functionality. In this session, I want to pay an invoice. Remember, we have separated the invoicing process, the financial implications, from the discipline process. To pay an invoice, I simply select which invoice I wish to pay on the home screen by selecting the icon Tick to Pay. Having selected the item that I wish to pay, and I can select more than one, I would then select Pay at the bottom of the screen. This will then take me to the secure payment page. Here you would enter your details as you would at any other stage when you are paying for things online. I would enter the card number, of course my name, the card expiry date, and the 3-digit security code on the back of the card, and select Pay. Once payment has been confirmed, I will receive a receipt. Finally, let's consider some of the other areas of the system. How do we deal with non-replies? Whilst we have separated the disciplinary functionality from the financial functionality, you still have a responsibility of a club secretary, whether it's online or in the manual process, to respond to the paperwork. They are separated as well. So if you fail to acknowledge a caution or a sending off, or if you fail to pay an invoice, you could be subject to a late fine. The system for the online clubs will do its best to remind you before we get to the stage of you being fined. A key element is that you have access to live data. You will be able to see the activity of your players, whether they're playing for your club or whether they are playing for another club and have got themselves suspended but have not notified you of that suspension. Providing you as club secretaries ensure that your player maintenance is kept up to date, you will see the access to that data. Of course, this is just the start of a new system, one that we wish to continually develop that will meet the demands of club secretaries. In order to do that, we will rely on your feedback on how you believe the system operates and maybe how it could be enhanced. Please do not be frightened of raising your observations directly to the County Football Association, who in turn will pass those on to the Football Association. We have today concentrated on the activity within the system from you as a secretary, but you have other officers within the clubs. You also have players. Other officers can be given access to the system on a read-only basis, and should you as secretary wish to grant it, you can give them access to respond to some of the disciplinary functionality. That is a matter for you. Players can also have access to the system, and as time moves forward, players will be able to respond to their own cases, to be able to pay for the cases without the need for the secretary to do it. You will be able to monitor that as it happens. We hope you find the system useful. Should you have any feedback, please do not hesitate to let us have it. Thank you for your time.